Let's get right into losers bracket. So we are heading to LogiSwords versus Moldy Milkers. This is going to be the first elimination match of playoffs. Whoever loses this will get the 5th pick in Overbot Season 3. Whoever wins will move on and give themselves a chance to enter the grand finals. If they can beat whoever loses in the winter finals, that is. So this is going to be a very interesting one. LogiSwords and Moldy Milkers should be highly intense here. LogiSwords obviously put up a great fight against AI, despite what I was thinking would happen to them. Moldy Milkers, on the other hand, I really had them as my favorite against Rush Hour, and instead they are down here in a 7-map banger of a series, falling to Rush Hour. They will now, both teams actually went full 7 maps, but LogiSwords just didn't have 3 map wins because they had that draw. We are going to be starting out on Samoa, so a Koth map feels very natural to start out on in a series. Like I said, these teams both put up excellent fights, both the 2 seeds in Never Back Down and Get Good respectfully, and it seems to be the case that they deserved those rankings. The fights they put up against those number 1 seeds was quite remarkable. And now we will see which of these 2 teams can come out on top when they go off against each other. Last time, I believe, Moldy Milkers did come out on top in this matchup. LogiSwords have not had a win against a major team yet. I think the only one you can make an argue for is No Diff Unks, but they aren't even a playoff team. No Diff Unks was just a very competitive team that almost made playoffs. LogiSwords obviously getting in over them because they beat them in that final match. Just barely making it to the playoff hunt race. But man, if LogiSwords can pull off an upset here and give themselves a chance in the rest of this playoff bracket, they might be able to do something. Who knows? I think Moldy Milkers do have the edge, though, in this series. Their tanky composition has worked them wonders throughout the regular season. Just falling to Rush Hour in a 7-map banger. Team usually does lose to AI too, though. Alright, so some trades happening here, actually favoring LogiSwords. Good start for them. Like I said, I am expecting Moldy Milkers to win this, but that was a very good team fight engage by LogiSwords. Their queen putting in some work. Moldy Milkers are looking to get back into this fight here. First fight. Going a little bit unexpected for me personally. Doom gonna jump himself into the hole. Kiri gonna be the first to fall, so great engage by LogiSwords. I'm very surprised by the performance we've seen from Moldy Milkers today. Dropping that first series against Rush Hour in a map 7 banger. I kind of expected them to win that one. And now they are turning around and struggling seemingly against this LogiSwords roster already. Gotta be a bit concerning if you're Moldy Milkers' coach. However, you do know your team is up to the task. They have won against this squad before. I'm going to get in pretty deep here. He is going to find a pick, so it looks like Moldy Milkers will win this fight, more than likely. 2 on point left for each squad, actually, so never mind. It looks like, never mind, Zarya going to be able to come in, clean up the kills. Looking like LogiSwords might take this first point. Keep their playoff hopes alive. Keep themselves in this bracket. Of course, they have to win 4 maps against this formidable Moldy Milker squad. Comes a Meteor Strike. It is going to be on the Reaper. It's not going to be able to finish the kill, and that is going to just be it. So a great hold here by LogiSwords. This first map, like I say, going very favorably in their court. Doom able to grab a touch. I don't think it's going to be enough to start anything here, though. So, like I said, LogiSwords taking this first point. I do expect Moldy Milkers to win this one, but LogiSwords are putting on quite a show already. I'm here for it. Very good squad in and of themselves. Obviously, they haven't quite earned themselves the same amount of pedigree as some of the other teams in the playoffs, as they have not yet beat a high-ranking team in Overbots. They haven't beat Moldy Milkers. They haven't beat AI. They haven't beat Rush Hour. All of those teams have had their number throughout the regular season. So I just want to see, maybe they can put something up against Moldy Milkers here. They've already are ahead on this the Samoa, I mean. So they are giving themselves an opportunity to get ahead in the series. Here comes Moldy Milkers and LogiSwords. Last point going a little bit unexpected for me personally. Zari going to get low here. Okay, this is a little bit more of what I anticipated to witness here, as Moldy Milkers are going to cleanly win that fight with a Doom Punch at the end, dropping no members. The only squad in playoffs currently that does not have a support. However, I do believe supports are some of the least impactful pieces we have in Overbots, as there are two teams that didn't even make playoffs that have two supports on them. So Reaper and Zarya are going to drop here, and so this is looking like a turntables here from the Moldy Milkers. First going 100-0 in favor of LogiSwords, but here the story looks a little bit different. Going to see another fight break out here. 41% on the clock and counting. We'll see how this re-engage goes. Hanzo going to drop to that hog immediately. Zari going to go down next. Queen fighting for her life. Reaper in. Going to disengage with his Wraith form. Going to result in his death regardless. So Moldy Milkers holding on to this point quite firmly so far. Very much an opposite story as to what we saw in that first point, where LogiSwords held on the entire time. There will be another engage from LogiSwords here as they try to grasp for a victory, but unfortunately they are just going to get rooted here. Reaper going to try to go in for one last touch, but 90% and counting. It is more than likely this will be the point. We're going to be heading to the third point on Samoa. Whoever wins this next one will take this first map in the series and go up 1-0. So tale of really two different stories going on there. First point, completely dominated by LogiSwords. Second, completely dominated by Moldy Milkers. So here is where all of the marbles lie on this last point on Samoa. Whoever takes this will be going up 1-0 to start this series, and we will be headed into our next map, whatever that may be. We have seen a surprisingly competitive playoff bracket so far. I expected more 3-0s and 4-0s because of the way series have usually shaped out in Overbots. However, immediately we have two map 7s hitting us, and the two bottom teams are now up against each other, fighting for their playoff lives here, and they're in 1-1 on Samoa, so really either one of them could win this point. Sorry, he's getting kind of deep in there all alone. Kiri's going to be the first to fall, though, so good start for LogiSwords. Trades happening, though, favoring Moldy Milkers at the end. Oh, it's 2. Okay, so 2-on-2 on point. Got the shotguns against the tanks. Queen and Reaper are going to back out, though, and just give up the point, it seems, to Moldy Milkers. Not exactly the greatest thing that could have happened for them. Almost would have rather seen the Queen and the Reaper maybe stick that out, see if with the Reaper self-healing they could have won that, but instead they will give up the point, so let's see if LogiSwords are going to regret that decision later. They are coming in for a re-engage. Start of this next fight. Zarya is going in alone a little bit here, though. The rest of her team seems to just be a little bit AFK in the back. A little bit AFK in the brain. That's not exactly what you want to see as a LogiSwords enjoyer. It's probably going to result in a very fast team fight win for Moldy Milkers, and it does. And just not able to get anything started here, so they did have an opportunity to win that first fight, but instead Reaper and Queen just backing off. Now they may be seen to regret the decision, as Zarya went in alone, and so did the other teammate, and it just created this awkward situation where you're down 2 and you have nothing to show for it. Zarya gonna go in and die again, so oh boy. This is looking like the dominance I was expecting from Moldy Milkers in this series. That first point, they just had a little bit of the jitters. But now they are taking control. Queen's going to go down, and only Reaper left. He's going to go down to the Hog, and it is 66 to 0%. LogiSwords not really putting up a fight on this second and third point of Samoa. They did excellent on that first point, but doesn't seem like they're all here totally mentally at the moment, as they are sitting in spawn a little bit longer than usual. And Zarya gonna go down here. It's probably just gonna spell defeat here for LogiSwords. That will be 100 to zilch. As Moldy Milkers, proving why I think they are the better squad here, taking map 1 in this series. See if they can continue this dominance throughout. So, a 1-0 lead for Moldy Milkers here. They are going to have to win 3 more maps in the series if they want to take it, though. Samoa will be out of the pool. Is Dorado legal? I think it is. I don't think we played on Dorado. Samoa, however, is no longer legal. So only our second Koth map played so far, which means we have quite a few of those to go. I believe that Dorado is legal. I don't recall us playing on it for either of these. Wait. Oh, that's deathmatch. Okay. So yeah, it should be legal here. LogiSwords and Moldy Milkers. Map 2. Currently, Moldy Milkers hold the lead. 1 zilch. So, Moldy Milkers, so far, so good. As expected, they are up 1-0 in this series. I do expect them to take it against LogiSwords. I don't think LogiSwords put up much of a fight against this squad, as some other teams in this bracket. Moldy Milkers were my favorite going into the tournament. However, now they will have to go through like AI, certainly. No one else will be able to deal with AI totally for them, so they're going to either have to face them in losers or they're going to have to face them elsewhere. So I don't know if Moldy Milkers have a chance now, especially after losing that first one. I feel like they could maybe, eke out some maps against AI. I was hoping that maybe they would be able to win it, but now my favorites, I'm just not seeing it anymore, especially after Rush Hour beat them. I think Rush Hour have to be the new option for the most likely to win this whole thing. However, Moldy Milkers coming through here, dealing with some of LogiSwords. Reaper getting very low, and Zarya. Reaper going to probably go down. Oh, he's fighting it. He's fighting it out here. He will eventually die, though. Moldy Milker's going to start moving this payload. They had some serious trouble on Escort against Rush Hour earlier today. We'll see if that trouble continues against LogiSwords, or if they look like a different team here. They got me a little bit nervous after losing that first point on Samoa. However, since then, it's been pretty much all of them, but Right, that's a big pick for LogiSwords to start this fight. The Rom able to take out 2. This is looking more and more likely that it will be flipped in favor of LogiSwords, especially after the Zarya goes down. Only Reaper left on this point. He will take down the Hog, so a little bit of value being provided there by the Reaper. Kiri going to be 1v1ing him. Oh, here comes the Ramatra. Reaper just doing his best and darndest to stay alive on this point, and he's actually doing a pretty good job. He does take out that Kiri, so that's actually pretty good for LogiSwords, as Reaper does stagger out long enough that his team can come in and clean up maybe the rest of these kills. Yeah, Doomfist is probably going to go down here. So a great hold by that Reaper, keeping LogiSwords in this Dorado. The Reaper guy putting in some serious work. Alright, here comes this Doom squad. Kiri gonna go down. Queen gonna go down. Trades favoring, not Rush Hour, LogiSwords currently. It looks like it will continue that way. So LogiSwords putting on a masterful defense on Dorado here. Looking like the struggles of Escort are going to continue for this Moldy Milker squad. As Roadhog is going to be punished. Only a minute on the clock here to get through this first point, and this is looking very good now. Reaper was doing some heroics earlier on this point. Staying alive, just picking off a couple members of Moldy Milkers, and then the re-engage happened, and they were able to hold it down. And since then, it has been all LogiSwords on this Dorado. Here comes the Ramatra ult. However, Kiri's going to die while that is up. Queen getting very low. She will eventually fall, but Ramatra's going to be down next, and suddenly this is looking very much like it could be just a full hold on Dorado. Don't think we've seen too many Escort maps get full held. A lot of the time teams will win it in OT or something, but could see it here on Dorado right now. LogiSwords are putting on a masterclass, trying to bring this series to a 1-1. Queen is back. She's going to have that anti. It could be massive. Doomfist does pop that ult pretty much immediately. Gonna have to see some sort of contest. Pretty fat anti. Gonna immediately kill that Hog. Doom gonna go down next, and this is looking like a full hold on an... Oh, wait, Rom getting a couple picks, but he will eventually fall down to the Queen, and the touches don't come through, so wow. Okay, LogiSwords. Alright. LogiSwords doing an excellent job on Dorado. They're probably going to push this in, and I imagine they're going to go up, or not up, but they're going to tie the series 1 apiece heading into that map 3. So another tight series in Overbots. Season 2 here. All these top squads, seems like anyone could really win. Just going to depend on the flavor of the week, depend on what maps get picked for a series. Samoa seeming to favor this Moldy Milker squad, and this map might just be in favor of LogiSwords. So we'll really have to see the tempo of this matchup, and if we are going to more control or seeing more Escort maps and hybrid and such. Very similar story to what Rush Hour was able to do against this squad. Moldy Milker's really just struggling on these payload maps. They keep seeming to lose them, despite being my favorite to win the whole thing. They have just seemingly struggled when a payload is involved of any sort, whether that be a push robot or a regular payload. So LogiSwords, they could run it up, but Moldy Milkers are going to have to do the impossible and reverse full hold here if they want to take this map. LogiSwords looking to go 1-1 and tie this thing up as quickly as they can. Kiri dying so fast, that is going to help you accomplish that. Doomfist is going to go down next. Rom going to fall. Very clean teamfight victory here for LogiSwords, and man, this is looking very different than Samoa. Do we even see a touch is the question. I think, no, there should be enough time. I think they're only going to be about, well. Was there 2 fight wins for Moldy Milkers? No? I don't know, man. It does look like they're going to get the touch, though. Yeah, they will. So Doom might just feed for it, though. Doom getting in a little deep here, all alone. Kiri's getting very low. However, her thing will save her. Hanzo's going to be the first to fall, so it's a sign of good things if you're Moldy Milkers. They are able to remove 3 members from this point. Only the Reaper is up, but he's not going to be nearly as useful here against a full squad of angry Moldy Milkers. So, task set out before them. They have to stall out for another 2 minutes and 40 seconds without giving up a fight. It is possible, it is doable, but man, that is a difficult ask for even the best teams in Overbots. LogiSwords are going to push around here. They're going to try to get on this Kiri as soon as possible. Does bring her down to half. She is able to disengage a little bit there, using that... Oh, but looks like LogiSwords are winning this fight. It is a 2v2, though. No, it is a 2v3, excuse me. I forgot about Queen. So it does look like eventually LogiSwords are probably going to win this fight and the map. And it's going to be tied 1-1. Let's see here, though. Can they remove this Hog, or will Hog have the same heroics that Reaper had earlier? Looking like he might be able to. He does deal with that Queen, however, Reaper's kind of dealing with him at the moment. And he will eventually fall, so I think that is just going to be it. This is going to be a 1-1 series headed into a map 3. Very dominant performance by LogiSwords on this Dorado. Very surprising dominant performance, to be honest. Good push and a good hold by LogiSwords will keep them tied in this series. We're back to 0-0. This is basically just a best of 5 now. We're starting at 0-0. See what we get next. Dorado is going to be off the table for future series, as well as this one. And we'll see what we run into. Going to go to Ilios. That sounds like an excellent map for Moldy Milkers. Going to remove this escort map. Going to remove Dorado from the pool. Only 3 more escort maps remain in rotation. We got Junkertown, Shambali, and Watchpoint Gibraltar, so look out for those maps. They're going to be few and far between now, I believe. Our next map is going to be Ilios. So our second Koth of the series should speed this one up a little bit. Like I said, even if we don't run out of all the maps, I think during the grand finals at the very least, I will open up all the maps back to be played, so anything can go. However, to get there, you're going to have to go through a lot of different maps. This way, teams don't get to roll into the same map that they went on over and over again, like a Blizz World situation. Does mean that with how separate the map types are, there are some maps that we're going to see a lot less of. Like Flashpoint is going to be very rare in this tournament, as well as Push and Clash. Can't remember if we have expired a Clash map already. I don't think we did. We have not expired a Clash map. We have expired a Push. Both Flashpoint maps remain in play. Anyways, here we go. So you're going to get hooked immediately here by this Hog. That bubble going to get bursted through a bit. She is already half. She's going to go down. This is a good start for Moldy Milkers. Going to need to see some trades coming from LogiSwords if they want to win this, but nope, it is looking very dominant from Moldy Milkers right now. Ilios. Looking like a good spot to be if you are Moldy Milkers so far, especially in this really tight corridor map, or control point at least. LogiSwords looking for a re-engage here, looking for another path into the series. It is tied 1-1, so. But this map, I think, is going to favor the Moldy Milker squad quite a bit. Zarya going down to half. She will eventually die here, though. I think trades are favoring Moldy Milkers. They are Ramattra very low on the outside, but Reaper's not going to be able to do enough there by himself. So Moldy Milkers getting the job done here against LogiSwords. It isn't pretty all the time. Kiri should be back for this next fight. 50% on the board and counting for Moldy Milkers. These Koth maps seemingly favoring them a little bit more than LogiSwords. Zarya going in with that bubble. She is going to get bursted down quite quickly here. Already low HP. Hanzo and her will fall. Kiri's going to fall on the other side, but man, it's already so heavily in favor of the Moldy Milkers. They are going to be up to 70% and counting. They are looking to take this second, or their second map in this series. Getting up to a 2-1 lead could be massive here. Sorry, going to be pushing underneath. Does eventually reach this point. Zari's going to have both of her bubbles bursted, and she is going to pop. Hanzo's going to go down next. Queen's in there, but she's going to fall. And Reaper, all that's left, and that is going to be it. 100 to zilch. LogiSwords getting absolutely washed on this Ilios. And they will have to come back on these next two maps, so see what they put together here. This one might favor you a little bit better. We'll see. Give that Hanzo some longer sight lines to work with. So far, though, Moldy Milkers looking very much in control on this Ilios. Kind of like they did on the last 2 points of Samoa. It's going to be all on LogiSwords to bring this back. Moldy Milkers and LogiSwords coming out of their spawns. Routing towards this point. Watch over this fight. Hog immediately throwing that hook out there, not catching any value with it. Kiri's going to fall to the queen, so a good start for LogiSwords. The health bars are so low, but they managed to get the job done. LogiSwords doing a good job at taking this point. They needed that little confidence boost, especially after I said this map probably favors LogiSwords a little bit. So a good start for them. Can they keep control of this point, though, is the question. Roadhog going to be in here. Hanzo going to get low. He's going to be the first to fall. That's not a good sign for LogiSwords, as Zari's going to fall next. And this is a full wash in favor of Moldy Milkers, and you do get 30% and building on the board. So 35, not terrible, but now you really got to start to worry, because when ultimates start becoming a factor in these matches, you are already at an inherent disadvantage, as we know. With how my Zarya bot works, for some reason she is just busted. She does not pop her ult. So something to look out for. Zarya gotta be re-engaging here. LogiSwords bubble is gonna get popped. They do trade the ROM. However, Hans is very low in the back line. Is he going to survive? He does pick off the Kiri, so he will go down for it. But now it's just Hog and Reaper on the point, and I believe Reaper should lose this. Unless Hog absolutely throws. Yep, so Hog will secure the point. Already passing LogiSwords in percentage, and this is looking like it is going to be a 2-1 lead for Moldy Milkers headed into the fourth map. All they have to do is manage their ultimates correctly. Sumatra and Hog dealing with those threats from LogiSwords. Zarya going to pick off one. However, her and Queen will eventually fall. And this is looking like a 100 to 35 situation. LogiSwords, unfortunately, just... Like I said, I think this is like one of their worst matchups. Moldy Milkers are very good against this squad. Seemingly, although that Dorado made it look like it was the other way around. So we'll have to see if we get a few more escorts going the way of LogiSwords, but I don't think you're going to win this one. Need a few more escorts or hybrids. Something to give you a bit of an edge. As these Koth maps and these types of maps just seem to so heavily favor Moldy Milkers in this matchup. 100 to 35 here on the second point will lead to a 2-1 lead for Moldy Milkers. They just need to secure two more maps in the series, and they will be headed to the losers final. Where they will either have to face AI or Rush Hour, depending on who loses that series. Very interested to see that one. So, that is going to take off. Let's see, I already took off Dorado, so I gotta take off Ilios and save this preset. We will be heading to our first flashpoint in the playoffs. New Junk City, going to be a very important map here. 2-1 lead for the Hog squad of the Moldy Milkers. LogiSwords are going to look for some momentum on this one if they can find it. Perfect place for this map to be used, as we do have two Junkers active. Actually, now that I think about it, all three Junkers have made it to the Overbots playoffs. We have Junker Queen, we have Roadhog, and we have Junkrat on Rush Hour. So all the Junkers have indeed made it. Very good heroes, it seems, in Overbots. Alright, here we go. Can Moldy Milkers put us on match point, or will LogiSwords be able to tooth and claw their way out of the losing position they find themselves in and bring us to another tied 2-2 score? Yet to find out on this New Junk City. Here comes Queen. She's going to get punched back a bit. Doomfist getting very low. He's going to be the first to fall. Zarya is going to be traded out quickly. Hog just putting in the work, killing the Queen, killing Zarya. And Hanzo at the end to secure this point. We do not see too many fights on Flashpoint with bots. So we'll see if they can grab a second fight here with a chance to win. There's at most like 3 or so fights that we usually see. Especially once the points start to tick up percentage faster. Okay, here we go. So we will get another fight here. Already 43% built up on the board. So you got to think that they might get 2 fights if they die quick enough here. But if they don't die quick enough, it's going to be a struggle, a staggered struggle at best. So 60% and building. It is going to build very fast. 70%, 72%. Do we see another touch here, or is that just going to be it? Moldy Milkers taking this first point. I think it is going to be Moldy Milkers just taking this first point. Just not enough time to get there to touch. It is quite far away. Yep, so we will not see a touch coming through. Only 2 fights. You get about... There's about 3 fights on the point if they flop. If control over the point changes, that is. So, Moldy Milkers looking to go take this second point on Flashpoint. so far, winning the first 2 fights, and thus the first flashpoint. A good look for them. Queen getting very low, however, Ramatra also getting low. Hanzo, very low on the side. He does get that bubble to keep him up, and this 3-point advantage for LogiSwords is coming in handy. Even though Hog gets 2, they are still going to come out on top on this one, and they will get first point control, which means they will be able to start building that percentage up, and they will be in control and have advantage. It's going to be about who can win 2 fights on a point. Second fight is coming in very fast, though, here for Moldy Milkers. It's only 25%, so it's going to have to be a long fight if LogiSwords make this. If LogiSwords want to win off this. Big ult from the Queen is going to pick up 2 members, and it is looking to be a long enough fight that you probably will just win off of this. However, Reaper versus... I think Reaper wins this. He does barely. So yeah, like I said, probably won't be much of a recontest off of this. Well, Ram is coming in, and Kiri, but on the other side, Zarya's back. Here comes the Ram ult. Okay, so there will be one more fight here, it seems. Zarya getting mega charged off this. She is going to fall, though, so... Okay, so a third fight bought here by the Moldy Milk squad, and they are going to actually take the point off of this, which is going to hurt a lot if you're LogiSwords, because now you have an opportunity of dropping this point that you have such a good lead on. So ults built up for Moldy Milkers are just going to help them in this endeavor to steal a point that you have won 2 fights on. Already up to 30%, and we haven't even seen LogiSwords get a touch yet. Bubble coming in massive here. Going to build up a lot of charge for their Zarya. However, Queen going down first and Hanzo dropping second. Do we get a touch from LogiSwords? So off of 2 fights, they may have just won this point, whereas LogiSwords also got to win 2 fights, but they don't get the point, so that really hurts if you're LogiSwords. That recontest coming just in time, that I don't even think they're going to get another touch here, unless Queen can do some miracle. 90% on the board. Is she going to get in? She does get stuck. Oh, no, she got stuck. And that is going to be it. So LogiSwords are going to drop the first 2 points on this flashpoint. Hanzo taking out the ROM just for the heck of it. Pretty much in garbage time. It doesn't really matter here, as LogiSwords looking a bit discombobulated here on map 4. Yes, this is map 4. Moldy Milkers very well could grab the advantage and go up 3-1 in this series. This flashpoint has looked to favor them thus far. Queen getting in a little bit alone. It's not great for her. She is going to fall. Hanzo getting hooked in. Also not great for him. It is looking like the triple tank squadron is cleaning up. Cleaning up LogiSwords here. If Moldy Milkers do win this, they will be at match point for the rest of the series with a 3-1 lead. Not looking ideal for LogiSwords at all here. Like I said, they are probably the weakest team in playoffs. They have shown that they can contend with a lot of the lower tier teams, if not dominate the lower tier teams, but when it comes to these higher tier teams, they get slapped around usually. That is a great cancel by Roadhog. Cancels the Queen ult. Not going to allow her to get any value out of that, and this could just result in a team fight victory here for, well, okay, Reaper. Nope, the Ramatra ult just coming in too strong, killing all 3 members of LogiSwords, and that will just be it. That is going to be the point. Flashpoint is going to go the way of Moldy Milkers. LogiSwords not able to get anything done here. 3-0 on this one to take a 3-1 lead in the series. Moldy Milkers looking absolutely dominant. Alright, so going to be heading to a map 5 here. See if they can turn their fate around. Might have to be an escort map or a hybrid. It seems to be the maps that Moldy Milkers tend to struggle on. But no, it's Koth. That's not what you want to see. That is not what you want to see. Let me delete the one flashpoint map from contention, so we will not be seeing another New Junk City being played in the tournament. Let me make sure. I think all the maps are off that are supposed to be off. I'm hoping so. But we will be heading to another Koth map, Antarctic Peninsula. Not a great sign at all for LogiSwords, as you've lost both Koth maps in this series already. You're down 3-1. Playoff life on the lines. If you go down, you're more than likely to go down 4-1 here. And you will be taking that 5th pick overall in Overbot's Season 3. Not a great spot at all to be in here for the LogiSwords. Moldy Milkers, on the other hand, are looking good, looking like they want to go to that losers final. Give them a chance at that grand finals. They put up such a great showing against Rush Hour. It would be a shame to watch them go out after that. LogiSwords looking like they're not going to get the job done here against Moldy Milkers. They did get one map, but is looking very good here for Moldy Milkers. They just need to take 2 points on Antarctic Peninsula to secure themselves a 4-1 match score and send LogiSwords home. Honestly, a pretty solid season for having second to last pick in the draft. They did get to grab onto 2 pretty solid tanks, but just not quite enough to get anywhere past 5th place, it seems, as Moldy Milkers are going to squash them here on this final Koth, it seems. I'm sorry, maybe I'm being a little bit too pessimistic for the LogiSwords here, but it looks like on these Koth maps, except for that one on Samoa for some reason, it seems to favor Moldy Milkers quite a bit. So LogiSword's going to come back in here for a re-engage. Sorry, he's going to get hooked. However, Kiri, nice pick starting from the Hanzo, giving his team a chance here. Some trades. Queen putting in some good work here. However, the trades are now going to start to favor the tanks, as Hog and Rom just doing what they do best. Winning fights when they're down members. Kiri and Doom will return. We have 44% on the clock here and counting. It is going to be very difficult for LogiSwords to get back into this one. Zarya going to be fighting this Kiri. She will be taken down. Doomfist going to take out the Queen and the Zarya, so even though you do get first pick, it just all the cards fall, and Moldy Milkers are one fight away. Well, maybe not even one fight. They might even just take it, depending on how quick this percentage builds up. I think they are one fight away from taking this first point on Antarctic Peninsula, sending us to a match point and game point, or a map point and a match point. Actually, a map point, a game point, and a match point finish. So, Moldy Milkers are 1 point away from taking a 4-1 here. They can afford to lose whatever this map is, and they will still have a chance on the final one. So we are going to, I don't know what this one's called. This one is not, this one's like I don't know, factory. What is this one called? I have no idea what this is called. Either way, they have a chance to secure their series win and their spot in the losers final. All they have to do is beat the squad before them one more time, LogiSwords, and they will secure a 4-1, proving themselves as the dominant second seed. That Moldy Milkers are a very powerful team despite being a 2 seed in their division. Are going to begin their long journey to this point. LogiSwords getting stuck on that corner a little bit. However, they will get in here eventually. Zarya popping both of those bubbles immediately, and Queen and Zarya are just going to fall, and this is looking like a massacre here. I don't know if LogiSwords will get back into this one. Every time we have seen Moldy Milkers lock down a point in this series, it has seemed like they just never give it up, so it's going to be hard here if you are LogiSwords to find a foothold in this series. Zarya going to come in from below. She's going to try to get on this Kiri, but she is getting focused down a bit. She will fall 30% and building here for Moldy Milkers. They are going to remove the Queen and the Hanzo. Reaper's going to be able to take out the Ramatra, but it's just not going to be enough. Alright, here comes LogiSwords. They get another fight here, but man, it's just... Zarya's already in there. She's popped both of her bubbles. They have bursted them down. If they can't finish the kill, maybe they have a chance here, but they do. So, Kiri's going to go down, but that trade almost as insignificant as 3 tanks are on the board. 2 no tanks now. And, yeah, that is going to be it. 80% building. This is probably just the point. We might see one more fight here, but it's going to be rushed at best. And we have ults on the board for the Moldy Milkers. Nothing on the board for LogiSwords. This will be a 4-1. Our most dominant playoff match so far. Everything else has been fairly close. But LogiSwords are just kind of getting dumpstered on by this Moldy Milkers team. And that will just be it. Ramatra putting the exclamation point on this one with that ult, and proving that Moldy Milkers belong in this tournament. LogiSwords, you had an excellent season, but it ends right here with a 4-1 Moldy Milkers victory. Hope to see you next season. You will be that 5th pick overall, so a better draft selection than last season. Might help you out a bit. I'll see you in the next one. It'll probably be that winners final.